Hello, and welcome to the Paul Klee Mini Festival. I'm going to be playing some very interesting kind of different collages of Paul Klee pieces. And this is the first of an event that lasts all week called the Paul Klee Mini Festival. And there's also a concert that's on Thursday night at Olivet Congregational Church in St. Paul, and then also Friday night at Studio Z. And then also a set of pieces at the La Crosse New Music Festival on Saturday afternoon. This is the first time I've done a run of several concerts in a row, and I'm really excited to share some world premieres in the concerts later on this week. But tonight is a little bit different. I want to focus on some work that has happened in the last year and a half, but presented in a very different way. Part of what I love about Paul Klee Painted Songs as a series is that I've generated so much material that now I'm starting to see connections between pieces that were written years apart. And the more I write about Paul Klee, the more I'm learning about his paintings and my own music making and seeing these parallels in different places. And now I have the joy of making galleries out of these pieces and out of these paintings and putting them together. And I thought that tonight I would present two of these galleries that I thought of that are a bit of a commentary on everything that's happened to to myself and to the world since December 2019, which is some of the last live Paul Klee pieces that were done. So our first set is three paintings that actually are the music is woven together. It's a bit like a John Cage piece where they're all playing simultaneously and you start to hear how they relate or how they work against each other. So this is a bit like Paul Klee meets John Cage meets Jonathan Postma music circus event happening, but it's happening in my bedroom over YouTube. And I love this idea of presenting these pieces simultaneously. So we have Country House of Thomas R. That's the one on the top in the yellow, green, and orange squares. Was for a group of handbell players. We recorded it at Schmidt Artists Lofts in December of 2019. And on top of that is High Spirits and Destroyed Place from January of 2020 with some members from No Exit out in Cleveland. Probably the last concert I went to before the events of 2020. And then also Woman Cursing, which is performed by Yoshi Weinberg in January of 2020. I was very much looking forward to hearing it live and planning a whole bunch of other things for that spring. But this series of pieces really, I guess, are a journey from a place of contentment, an optimism and expansiveness that was December of 2019 into a place that's a bit frustrated, desolate, lonely, and isolating. It's an interesting journey. You may see some surprises from me along the way, some improvisation as I weave these pieces together, but also incorporate some live sound as well. But here is our first set, including these several paintings. All right. Well, that was our first set. I really love the ending of that one, where it's very sparse. I finally kind of let go of all of the pieces in different ways, and we're left with this very desolate painting, the destroyed place, that house. And I these paintings at first I didn't think they went together, but when I realized that there's a house in the middle of the estate of Thomas R, country house of Thomas R on the top in the orange, I imagined what it might take for that house to be destroyed to become the painting in the bottom, which is lined with these gravestones, and thinking about that transformation. And how the bells that maybe are joyful and happy can at times become alarms, or can be like little whispers in the night, or spirits coming and going. Bells have all those connotations, and even though they're not represented literally in either of these paintings, I love that idea of how they move through the space. And I hope you enjoyed it. There are a few people here watching. You can use the chat if you have questions about any of the things that you're experiencing here. I love to hear from people and what they're seeing in these paintings and what they're hearing as well. And I hope you enjoy my random additions here and there. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but that's the spirit of these live streams tonight. So I want to talk about the next one a little bit. This is 3 more paintings that I created. Images are these images I responded to during the pandemic, and 2 of them were performed during the pandemic, and one of them was from December of 2019. So starting at the left is Harmony Blue Equals Orange. And this one I wrote and performed with a group of people completely remote, a live remote recording that was done over Klee Feed and Zoom with a group of friends that were meeting every couple of months to do these live remote experiments to see what was possible and what wasn't possible. And I think it's really interesting to use that material with these other 2 paintings. In the middle is Maid of Saxony. This was written in October of 2020 for Hypercube, and it was recorded. It's a piece for solo accordion. And then Static Dynamic Gradation is the one on the right, one of Paul Klee's famous square paintings. And that really is the key to this next set, is this idea of being both static and dynamic. It runs through a lot of Klee's work, this idea of something being both stable and unstable, or frozen and moving, or locked in place but yet able to go anywhere. It's something that I think was really brought into focus during the pandemic, because we were stuck in isolation, but yet we had technology that could bring us anywhere. Or we were isolated and lonely, but yet used that to find perseverance and to find ourselves. At least that's how I felt the last year, is taking this moment to learn new skills. I never thought I would be giving a live stream from my bedroom, much less 3 of them, and I don't know if I'll ever give one again. But that's something I never would have imagined, and use this isolation to transform the way I worked and the way I thought, and to dedicate time to exploring open-ended, unpredictable type of things. And this whole live stream is a representation of that idea of things are unpredictable, but you improvise as you go. We can't control everything, and being able to be dynamic and move from being static to dynamic, and all the gradations along that continuum, I think it's a lesson for life. as much as it is in music or in art, and something that this next set represents in different ways. So I hope you enjoy this next grouping of pieces. So that was interesting. I may have muted myself to do a change and then forgotten to turn my speakers back on, which happens. But that's a bit of why I keep experimenting with these live streams, because I find it's a low pressure way among on YouTube, especially a few of you have stuck around, which is wonderful. And thank you, Nate, for coming back. I do have one more piece that I wanted to share. And just wanted to have one more piece. There's a lot of activity happening in the Paul Klee world. I have been very busy. I'm working with a group of bassoon players. I'm working with a group of trumpet players. I'm working with people to get everything set up for concerts in the spring. There's really been a flurry of activity, and I want to thank everyone that's been so supportive of me and of these pieces. This is becoming my life work in many ways, and I love sharing this work with people because I've found more in these paintings and more in the process of writing this music that can't just be expressed musically or artistically. And I hope that this live stream gets you in the spirit of thinking about sound in different ways and about how sound relates to your own life, especially as we come back to live performance and what that might mean. So there are more concerts later this week, and also things coming up in the future. But I wanted to share this next piece with you, which I think is the end of the journey of the concert tonight, at least. It's called At the Core. It's for solo cello with looping pedal delay things. I've definitely become more comfortable with electronic music since the pandemic, which is, I think, a point of growth for me. And this piece is really me exploring every possible side of the cello, but actually in a different tuning. So the two lower strings are a half step lower, so it's a different, in my opinion, richer sound to an already rich instrument. So the performance tonight was made by Wick Simmons. He recorded all of the parts, and I put this together. And I really think this is a piece about growing in confidence. It's a passionate piece, and it's about finding that little kernel of joy inside of you and cultivating it into something rich and rewarding. In the painting, there's this little seed or this little drop of blood in the middle, and all these potential fields of energy around it, of potential for this little seed that's at the core of something much larger. So this is our final video of the night, At the Core. All right. Well, thank you for sticking around. That was the last piece for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. It's a bit of an experiment for me, a bit of a way to show some of the work that I've been doing, and also to let you know about a couple of other concerts that are coming up later this week. These are both in person, and we'll have live streams also. So in person at Thursday at Olivet Congregational Church in St. Paul, and Friday at Studio Z in St. Paul. Completely different programs. Nothing that you heard tonight will be on those concerts, except I may be playing my ocarina and my flute and bells at Studio Z, but in a different piece, not anything that you heard tonight. So support those events, or let me know what you thought about tonight's experimental live stream here, and have a wonderful